Hey, speaking of pigskin, Donald Trump, in his ongoing effort to distract us from the fact that he doesn't want Melania to see the Epstein files, went after Rosie O'Donnell again. He's been threatening to revoke Rosie O'Donnell's American citizenship, which, like peeing standing up, he cannot do.
He's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country.
Jimmy Kimmel teaming up with Robert De Niro to take aim at Donald Trump feels like a comedian and a legendary actor walking into a circus, spotting the clown, and pulling the whole performance apart. Their humor doesn't come across as empty laughs or cheap jokes. It's presented as sharp, pointed criticism aimed at what they see as Trump's oversized ego. Kimmel brings his quick, playful style, while De Niro adds a weight of years of experience and unmistakable frustration. Together, they deliver a relentless roast, arguing that Trump too often mistakes showmanship for real leadership and chaos for genuine strength.
Speaking of security, President Trump spoiled the U.S. Open yesterday. Hundreds of fans missed the start of the final because Martina Navratilova decided to come to the match to wave at people. It caused long lines at the security checkpoint. He was roundly booed by the crowd. You know how much of a jerk you have to be to get booed by a tennis crowd?
Look at the lame, inane things that he said. He's so stupid, he can't even say anything clever or smooth. He's a moron. But he's a scary one. And in all seriousness, and we know it here, people have to get out and vote and vote and vote. And
if you're enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so you don't miss any future updates. From there, Jimmy Kimmel wastes no time taking aim at what he portrays as Donald Trump's constant need for approval, joking that almost every move seems driven more by the desire for applause than by policy. He paints the White House as if it were Trump's personal backstage dressing room, where every appearance is followed by an imaginary audience cheering him on. Kimmel even jokes that Trump can't pass a mirror without picturing and applauding him, turning that idea of self-importance into the centerpiece of his comedy. In Kimmel's telling, the biggest irony is that someone chasing admiration so desperately often ends up becoming the subject of memes instead. And that's where he lands some of his strongest laughs.
I'd like to remind you, this is a post from the President of the United States. He wrote, as previously mentioned, we are giving serious thought to taking away Rosie's citizenship. She is not a great American and is, in my opinion, incapable of being so. Here's the thing, whenever he's spitting out, he goes back to Rosie. That's his safe space. He zeroes out. Calling her fat is what makes him comfortable. Meanwhile, she's about half his weight now.
Then Robert De Niro steps in, and his criticism has a completely different tone. He doesn't rely on elaborate setups or clever punchlines. Instead, he delivers his thoughts in a direct and unmistakably blunt way. Shaped by years of watching public figures, he believes project confidence without the substance to match. He cuts through what he sees as the image with sharp, no-nonsense remarks. In De Niro's view, Trump isn't just embarrassing, he's become exhausting. He even compares him to the political version of a sequel that keeps coming back no matter how many people think the story should have ended. As De Niro describes Trump's mistakes, he argues that they feel less like examples of steady leadership and more like an improvised performance where the person on stage has lost the script but refuses to give up the spotlight.
Angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction with someone like Donald Trump. If you care about your future, vote.
Together, Jimmy Kimmel and Robert De Niro turn the spotlight on what they portray as the most absurd parts of Donald Trump's public appearances. From rallies they describe as filled with self-congratulation to press conferences they joke can drift into unexpected territory. Nothing is off limits for their comedy. Kimmel quips that Trump speeches sometimes wander like a relative at Thanksgiving, who just keeps talking long after everyone else is ready to move on. De Niro adds his own comparison, saying Trump reminds him of a method actor stuck, playing the role of a loud billionaire who never steps out of character. Their styles are different, but together they build the same overall message through humor and sharp criticism.
This photo he posted looks really more like him than hers. Rosie O'Donnell, how can someone so old be so childish? It's Benjamin can't button his pants. You know, we talk about how much time Trump wastes playing golf. He seems to be spending a lot more time posting dumb AI videos lately. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, has been roasting him online, and so now Trump is doubling.
The comedy hits harder because the jokes are presented as being rooted in observations the comedians believe their audience already recognizes. When Robert De Niro jokes about Donald Trump's habit of calling himself the best at almost everything, he's using that as a way to argue that constant self-praise can come across as insecurity rather than confidence. De Niro's point is that, in his view, real power doesn't have to keep announcing itself because it speaks through actions. He pushes the idea even further with comparison, joking that Trump is like a magician claiming he's just pulled a rabbit out of a hat while the hat is empty and the rabbit disappeared long ago. Whether people agree or not, that's the message De Niro is trying to drive home through his criticism.
America's Philistine president has had himself appointed head of one of our premier cultural institutions. He has cut funding and support to the arts, humanities, and education. And now he has announced a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't put a price on creativity, but apparently you can put a tariff on it. Of course, this is unacceptable. All these attacks are unacceptable. And this isn't just an American problem, it's a global one. Unlike a film, we can't just sit back and watch. We have to act.
What really makes this takedown stand out is the contrast in their styles. Jimmy Kimmel brings a playful, sarcastic sense of humor, while Robert De Niro delivers his criticism with unmistakable intensity. Together, they cover every angle, using comedy to argue that Trump is challenged less by policy debates or scandals in this moment than by becoming the target of constant jokes. They suggest that nothing damages his public image more than being turned into a recurring punchline, and that's exactly where they keep putting the focus. Kimmel pokes fun at what he portrays as Trump's obsession with television ratings and crowd sizes, comparing it to a former sitcom star who still can't accept that the spotlight has faded. De Niro follows by mocking what he describes as exaggerated claims, suggesting they resemble balloons that look impressive until they finally burst. In their view, it is an example of leadership, but of marketing that no longer works. Kimmel also takes aim at Trump's financial history, while De Niro argues that Trump has often managed to turn setbacks into stories of success. They point to business failures, legal battles, and controversies as examples, using them to strip away what they see as a polished image and replace it with a much less glamorous picture.
I am totally dumbfounded, baffled by that. I can't understand it. And it's a thing that we've seen over decades and decades. And he's a what's it, Tammy Faye and the other one?
Yes.
The same thing, give us your money, we're going to save you. Yeah, televangelist.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing. And it's so obvious. I just don't understand people can buy it. I just don't know. It's all an act in a certain way. It's all out of insecurity. He's deeply, deeply insecure. He is a malignant narcissist. He's a socio-psychopath.
The roast goes far beyond money and shifts its focus to the kind of political culture Kimmel and Robert De Niro argue Trump encourages. Kimmel jokes about what he portrays as Trump's demand for loyalty, comparing it to a magician desperately waiting for applause because silence might reveal how the trick really works. De Niro takes a much more serious approach, arguing that fear should never be mistaken for respect, and saying that, in his view, strong leaders earn loyalty instead of forcing it. They also turn their attention to moments of national crisis. Kimmel criticizes what he presents as Trump's tendency to make difficult situations revolve around himself, while De Niro argues that handling major emergencies like an improvised performance isn't just embarrassing, but potentially harmful. Their criticism extends to foreign policy as well. Kimmel jokes that Trump's approach to international relationships can sometimes resemble schoolyard drama, with allies and rivals treated like characters in a reality show. De Niro closes that thought by arguing that world leaders aren't impressed by showmanship alone and are paying close attention to how America's credibility is perceived on the global stage.
Hockey fans will boo a baby wearing the wrong jersey. Tennis fans, if they're booing, you deserve it. Trump sat in the Rolex booth. Anything with a crown is like catnip to him. He can't resist. And once again, all eyes were on his hands. Trump's right hand is again plastered with some kind of putty. Between his face, his neck, and his hand, his skin has more colors than a Sherwin-Williams store right now. Let's look at that hand because it's
Jimmy Kimmel also takes aim at what he portrays as Donald Trump's contradictions, joking that he changes positions so often it feels like watching an actor lose track of the script. Robert De Niro builds on that criticism, arguing that, in his view, the focus has been more on appearances than on results, describing it as a style of leadership driven by image instead of outcomes. They use those jokes to highlight what they see as promises that ultimately give way to confusion and controversy. Kimmel even compares the White House to a reality show spinoff where every family member gets a cameo, while De Niro offers his own sharp comparison, describing it as a family constantly competing for power without knowing how to use it effectively. What gives their tag team roast its impact is the contrast between Trump's public image and the picture they're trying to paint. They argue that while he presents himself as confident, unshakable, and larger than life, the reactions they point to suggest someone who is deeply concerned with protecting that image. Through their jokes and criticism, they try to peel back the larger-than-life persona and leave the audience questioning what they believe lies underneath.
It's so frightening and scary, and he's dangerous. We got to get rid of him.
Do you ever?
And shame on those Republicans that don't have the nerve, the balls to go after him. What do they tell their kids? What do they tell their grandkids later when it's written in history books what their role is and what they did, and they allowed him to do this. He's an outright criminal.
The comedy may be ruthless, but Kimmel and Robert De Niro present it as carrying a bigger point. Their argument is that holding power doesn't make anyone immune from criticism or satire, and they suggest that the more someone tries to control the narrative or demand admiration, the more vulnerable they become to being laughed at when their actions invite it. Through their jokes, Kimmel and De Niro argue that Trump's public legacy will be shaped not only by politics, but also by the countless punchlines he has inspired. They portray it as more than just another celebrity roast, describing it as a close examination of what they see as an oversized public image. Kimmel turns Trump into one of late night's favorite comedy targets, while De Niro delivers his criticism with the weight of someone who believes that credibility has steadily faded. Together, they argue that history may remember Trump not only as a deeply divisive political figure, but also as someone whose own words and public performances repeatedly became material for comedians. In their view, what makes a takedown so effective is that it doesn't depend on elaborate setups or dramatic revelations. They suggest that simply reacting to Trump's public appearances provides enough material on its own, using humor to argue that the spectacle often speaks louder than the confidence he tries to project, leaving the audience with the image of someone reaching for a larger-than-life legacy while repeatedly undermining it through his own actions.
One tenacious photographer got a photo where he appears to be chewing on either a mint or possibly maybe a certain little blue pill. I don't know which. All I know is after he swallowed it, Melania changed seats. So. On Saturday, Francis Ford Coppola posted this AI-generated image of himself to celebrate his invasion of Chicago. Someone made this and called it Chipocalypse Now with the caption, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." This is normal, right? Both sides do this. So you remember when Obama declared...
Jimmy Kimmel often builds his jokes around what he portrays as Donald Trump's contradictions, pointing to the contrast between Trump's image of strength and the way he reacts to criticism or satire. Kimmel frames that contrast as the central irony, suggesting that someone who works so hard to appear unshakable can seem surprisingly sensitive when faced with jokes. Robert De Niro takes the criticism in a different direction, arguing that Trump still comes across as someone chasing the kind of validation people seek much earlier in life. In their view, the laughter isn't aimed only at Trump himself, but at what they see as a constant performance driven by the need for approval. They continue by flipping what Trump presents as strengths into qualities they criticize instead. Confidence becomes overconfidence, bluntness becomes something they parody, and his focus on ratings becomes another target for jokes. Kimmel compares him to a performer desperately asking for applause while the audience is already losing interest, while Niro paints a darker picture, arguing that the presidency became defined more by performance than by results. Together, they suggest that their sharpest criticism comes when they connect those jokes to what they see as real-world consequences, arguing that an intense focus on public image can turn serious moments into political theater.
I hate bullies, thugs who use their strength to push other people around. They think they can achieve power and hang on to it by intimidating others. Sadly, sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. And now we have Trump. He's all that, about intimidation, retribution. He's going to prosecute. He's going to send you to jail for having an abortion. He's going to take your Medicare and Social Security away. He's going to deport you. He's going to send the military after you if you defy him. You know who this shit works on? The MAGA politicians who are afraid of losing their power. They're so afraid of him, he's got them kissing his ass. And now they're trying to intimidate us. We will not allow that, not even for a minute.
Robert De Niro pushes a criticism even further, arguing that credibility starts to disappear when showmanship takes the place of substance. In his view, the jokes resonate because they reflect a concern that too much attention is given to applause instead of accountability. Kimmel adds to that by portraying Trump as the unreliable narrator of his own story. Someone, he jokes, is constantly rewriting the past to fit the moment. De Niro follows by arguing that repeatedly exaggerating achievements comes across less as confidence and more as a sign of insecurity. Together, they paint the picture of someone who seems to rewrite his own biography in real time, only to contradict himself before the story is finished. Kimmel compares Trump to a reality show contestant who wandered into politics without fully understanding the rules, while De Niro takes a more serious tone, describing the presidency as a cautionary tale wrapped in spectacle. Their shared message is that the White House should be a place for governing rather than performance, and they argue that, in their view, Trump's time in office often blurred that line by turning politics into an ongoing public show.
The guy who dodged the draft, he sure does love fake pictures of himself in battle gear. He's a real AI Joe when it comes to the internet. And by the way, if Trump was actually a character from the movie Apocalypse Now, it wouldn't be Robert Duvall. It would be late life Marlon Brando. Okay? Trump is now, after Chicago, he has declared Chicago to be the world's most dangerous city. That, of course, is based on statistics gathered by the worm inside RFK.
Even in their jokes, Jimmy Kimmel and Robert De Niro convey a sense of disbelief. Kimmel pokes fun at what he portrays as Trump's constant search for validation, joking that public office often seemed to revolve around rallies and self-promotion, while De Niro expresses frustration with what he sees as the presidency becoming more about image than leadership. Their message is that the comedy works not simply because they find Trump unusual, but because they believe the political moments they're reacting to are already so extraordinary that humor becomes the easiest way to make sense of them. Kimmel turns those moments into punchlines, while De Niro argues that an ongoing focus on attention and personal image can weaken both credibility and effectiveness. Together, they portray a presidency that, in their view, often felt like satire even while dealing with serious issues. They suggest that when political power becomes a subject of constant jokes, its authority can begin to fade, making comedy itself a form of criticism. By the end, they want the audience to see beyond the larger-than-life public image, with Kimmel providing the humor and De Niro adding the emotional weight. Their shared conclusion is that Trump's legacy may be remembered not only through politics, but also through the lasting impact he has had on modern political comedy, where he remains one of his most recognizable and frequently discussed figures.